Welcome back. Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome in to the 2024 NFL season over here on DD Fantasy Football. The 2024 college football season popped off last week. We are in full swing. But if you clicked on this video because you wanted to see a rookie mock draft for the 2025 class, you came to the right damn place, and we will be doing it every single week over here on this channel. And here is what we will not do. What we won't do is what a lot of people do. These lists get circulated in June, July, August, these rookie mock drafts for your fantasy leagues. Most people just rock with them joints for weeks on end, months on end, because they ain't watching. They're not paying attention. They're not adjusting to what's happening in the college game, and they're not thinking about what's happening in the NFL and how those two things talk to one another. But right here, I promise you, this season, we ain't following none of that consensus stuff. We're watching, we're paying attention, we're locked in, we're tapped in, and I promise you, if you rock with me all year, you roll with DD Fantasy Football, by the time we get to the draft prospect process, there will be no prospect, none. That is a sleeper, a hidden gem. You'll have all the information that you need in order to make those decisions when it's time to press draft. Got a dope rookie notebook, updated, renovated, overhauled. We're going to talk about it. Picks 12 through 1. If it's your first time on the channel, first time checking out content here, thank you for giving me a little bit of your time. And I promise you, if you stick around to the end of the video, you will be more informed, but damn it, you're going to be entertained. So hit that thumbs up button, like the content for your boy. 2025 NFL Draft Prospects. We're going to do it. 25 Rookie Mock, first one. DD Fantasy Football and your boy GQ. Let's get it. All right, y'all, 2025 Rookie Mock. I'm going to pull up my rookie scouting notebook. We're going to go into this, and then we're going to go through our mock, talk about the players, what they did, and what I think they're going to do in week 2, and some players that we want to see a little bit more from in order to put them into that top 12. No quarterbacks, no super flex, skill position players. Let's pull up the notebook and let's talk about it. So here we go. Right now, you get access to this, $7 a month. You go to patreon.com/allgas. You get access to this, or go to the website, sign up for the all access package. You get access to the website, the tools there, as well as the database that we're looking at right now. And no, Xavier Restrepo is not inside the top 12, but just giving you a little example of what this looks like when you get in this notebook. Full week recaps from the players. That way you can see what they did if you didn't check it out. Stock up, stock down, and a lot more to come with this. But let's pop this thing off at number 12. And this is a player that there's another guy on the team that everybody loves from Devi Land, and everybody loves the 5-star pedigree, but Oregon's got a dog. Tez Johnson out of Oregon comes in at my 12th spot, 112 on the rookie mock board right now. Tez Johnson, 5'10", 160-pound wide receiver out of Oregon. And I'm going to just say this. If you like Tank Dell, you should love Tez Johnson. He's more explosive than Tank Dell. He's just as twitched up and quick, and he's their team's #1 target. In week 1 versus Idaho, 12 catches, 81 yards, 2 TDs, and his ability to separate was evident. He's sudden, he's fast. He's one of those names that a lot of people are not familiar with, but I believe if Tez would have declared last year, we'd have pushed for second-round capital. So with a strong season this season with Dan Lanning, Dylan Gabriel, they struggled a little bit versus Idaho in week 1, but Tez Johnson getting 15 targets in that game, 12 receptions, 81 yards, speed demon. Quick, shifty. In today's NFL game, we see that those players can thrive. Tez Johnson is a name, if you're not familiar, have him on your radar, have him on your watch list, and when you're watching Oregon, stay tuned in for number 15. He's incredible. Excited to watch him continue to progress this season. Now let's go to the 111 spot, and we are going to stick with the wide receiver position. We saw this player on Sunday night have a big game versus USC, and I'm talking about LSU's Kyren Lacy. Takes over for Malik Neighbors, takes over for Brian Thomas. He is the guy on that team. They were dealing with some injuries or suspensions. I don't know what was going on with Daniels and Hinton from LSU, but there's no doubt about it. Kyren Lacy was the primary target for a lot of the night for Garrett Nussmeier. Lacy in week 1 had 7 passes for 94 yards, scored a touchdown on a beautiful, beautiful ball from Garrett Nussmeier. And, you know, this was a game where LSU lost, but I don't look at wins and losses when I'm trying to project where a player could end up in the NFL. Kyren Lacy at 6'2", 200+ pounds, does profile like an NFL receiver that's going to be drafted with decent capital. Right now, I don't think he's a first-round pick, probably somewhere in round 2, but we'll see how the season progresses for Kyren Lacy. And we know the history of LSU wide receivers at the next level. He's got a really good shot to work his way into being a top-rated blue-chip prospect. The only kind of issue with Kyren Lacy is he will be 24 years old once we get to the 25 NFL draft. So for those of you who really take age into consideration, this might be something that turns you off of Kyren Lacy a little bit, but I'm telling you, the play on the field is outstanding. Again, 94 passing, 94 yards and a touchdown. He is the number 1 target for Garrett Nussmeier, and he should have an explosive season for the Bayou Bengals this fall. Now let's move to a different position and talk about the running backs, which this 25 class, y'all, the running back position is loaded. You've got guys that profile like typical traditional bell cows. You've got pass-catching monsters. This player right here, Nicholas Singleton out of Penn State, coming in at 110 for me, is a combination of both. You can hand him the rock. He can return kicks. He can catch the ball in the backfield. Penn State, they beat West Virginia. So a quality win for Penn State right out the gate, 34-12. Nick Singleton, 16 carries, 114 yards, and a nasty 40-yard touchdown run that just shows his elite juice. The dude is built, 6 foot, 210 plus pounds. He can run. He's a 4-4 type running back. And Penn State running backs in the past, and you can go way back, have been quite good in college football, and we've had a few to hit the NFL that have also been very good. Nicholas Singleton shares a backfield with Kaytron Allen, who's also a talented back, not a top 12 guy, but very talented. Nick Singleton is somebody, by the time we get to the end of the process and we see how big and fast and strong these running backs are, I can see him moving up quite a bit. Right now, coming in at the 110 spot, Nick Singleton out of Penn State. Let's move to number 9, and we're going to go to a familiar place and a familiar position, but a different name and still a very, very good player. It's one of those things where a lot of times players are out of sight, out of mind, but you better not forget about Ohio State's Emeka Egbuka, 6'1", 205 plus pounds, 21 years old, 5-star prospect. Right now, he's the 109 on my board right now in this rookie mock. Week 1 versus Akron, he didn't have to do a ton. It was the Jeremiah Smith show, true freshman out of Ohio State, but Emeka Egbuka, 4 for 51. Wasn't this great performance from him, but we've seen him be dominant in years past. Will Howard, new quarterback at Ohio State, they're having to incorporate a lot of new guys in this offense, including the running back Quinshon Judkins, who we will talk about in this mock. You've got Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith. They still got a tight end in G. Scott, and Will Howard transferring over for Kansas State. Make no mistake about it. His size, he's built just like, he kind of looks like DJ Moore when he's on the field. They both wear that number 2, big muscular frame. He's going to be one of those players that pushes for top 50 capital. Wouldn't be shocked to see Emeka in round 1 in the NFL draft. I've got him towards the back end of round 1 right now of the real NFL draft, and he's picked there. We see what happens with guys like Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette, Xavier Worthy getting drafted in round 1. They will be in first-round consideration for rookie drafts. Emeka Egbuka coming in at 109 for me. Let's go to 108, staying at the Ohio State. Talking about everybody's favorite running back from college football 25, Quinshon Judkins. He had a fine performance in week 1, did not have to do a lot, 13 carries, 55 yards. He did score a touchdown, but he looked like the same guy that was at Ole Miss. He looked like the same type of player that was at Ole Miss, finishing downhill, finishing forward, physical runner, very good feet, good vision for Quinshon Judkins. My biggest concern about Quinshon, it's only 1 week. It's only 1 week, but it's his ability to be effective in the receiving game. Now, week 1, Ohio State threw the ball to TreVeyon Henderson quite a bit. He's been utilized in that role, and he looked as explosive and as healthy as ever. I think a lot of times people forget about how good Big Hendo was his freshman season, injuries the last 2 years. Quinshon Judkins might be the best pure running back in this class, 5'11", 220 plus pounds, built like a prototype NFL running back. But it's his usage in the receiving game that I want to see him get more work this season with the Buckeyes. If he can pick that up, there's a real chance that he pushes for RB1 in this class. Right now, got him a little bit down the list, coming in at 108 for me, Quinshon Judkins. Love him, but we're talking fantasy football, and we all know a target is worth more than a rush attempt. I need the running backs that are going to catch some passes. Judkins is dope. Plenty of time for him to improve that reception profile. But with TreVeyon Henderson in the way, it may be a little difficult, and that is who I actually have at number 7, Big Hendo. TreVeyon Henderson coming in at the 107 spot for me. Again, they didn't have to ask him to do a ton. 65 yards on 8 rush attempts for him, but he did catch multiple passes in this game. You saw the explosiveness. 5'11", over 200 pounds now for TreVeyon Henderson. You see the size, you see the juice, you see the explosiveness. And again, for those of y'all who don't know, he had one of the most impressive freshman seasons we have seen in a long time. Past a couple of years marred by some injuries, but make no mistake about it. When he's healthy and when he's on the field, there aren't many backs in college football better than TreVeyon Henderson, including his own teammate, Quinshon Judkins. So when I'm looking at where these two running backs are going to slot in the NFL, I'm not going to say it's going to be like Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown from years ago where they had 2 running backs drafted inside the top 10 of the NFL draft. I'm not going to go that far, but there's a very good chance that we roll around on draft day and both of these guys are high day 2 picks in the NFL draft. I just prefer Henderson's receiving capability a tad bit more than Quinshon Judkins' physical downhill rushing style, but both of these guys are going to be top backs in the 25 class barring health. Let's go to the top 6. Let's get into that top 6. We're getting into money time. Blue chip prospects. We're getting close. At number 6, one of everybody's favorite players coming into the year, Luther Burden, dominant wide receiver out of Missouri. He also didn't have to do a ton. They beat the brakes off of Murray State as they should have, 51-0. Caught 3 passes, 39 yards, 16-yard touchdown run. I mean, just playing around out there. So it wasn't a big game from Luther Burden, but I posted a video on Luther Burden on this channel talking about the type of routes that he ran last year, the way that he was deployed. One of the things that I want to see from LB3 is more usage downfield. They do a lot of short stuff with him, crossers, speed outs, a lot of manufactured screens. And when you look at the NFL, more videos posted on this. Over the last 5 years, here are the routes that you want your receivers running to score you a lot of fantasy points. Out routes, hitch routes, go routes, and crossers. I want to see Luther Burden do a little bit more of those things, and then he's got a chance to move his way up. I don't really care that he's a primary slot receiver, and I know a lot of people will say, well, Justin Jefferson played in the slot his final year. Yeah, but the year before, in 2018, he played exclusively on the outside. So Luther Burden so far has only been utilized inside, which is not a big deal. I'm more concerned with the type of routes that he's running, and I just want to see him do a little bit more. But despite all of that, he still comes in at 106 for me. 6th player off the board. Luther Burden III is going to have a monster year for Missouri. Not much in week 1, but I still give him stock up. Scored a touchdown, showed that explosiveness. Let's see what he does here in week 2. Let's get into the top 5. And at that point, we are in that blue chip prospect territory. And at number 5, we're sticking with the wide receiver position. Travis Hunter from the University of Colorado. 6'1", 190 pounds. Dynamic start. I get it. North Dakota State, but dynamic start. 7 catches, 132 yards, and not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns from quarterback Shedeur Sanders. He's the only receiver in this class, the only one for me that could potentially, and I don't think he will, potentially push for wide receiver 1 overall numbers, but the guy that's ahead of him is an absolute dog, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. Hunter, if you have not seen the contracts that have been given out in the NFL, PS2 got $77 million, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, they getting $100 plus. Play wide receiver, young man. I've said it multiple times. I believe Hunter is a little better receiver than he is corner. Posted a video of Travis Hunter a few months ago. I'll link that here on this video so you can check that out. But his playmaking ability, the hands, the playmaking ability, the instincts, the speed, the size, he looks like he's gotten bigger this year. I mean, this is a rare prospect. So if you're sitting at the 105 spot, the 106 spot, and you get a chance to potentially grab Travis Hunter, be excited. Be excited. What he put on wax, the things that he was able to do versus North Dakota State. And again, I get it's North Dakota State, but I can only judge you off of what you've done. Very impressive. Had a hell of a week 1. And excited to see him this weekend versus Dylan Raiola's Nebraska Cornhusker team. Travis Hunter's just going to keep stacking weeks, playing both sides of the ball. Hopefully, once he gets to the next level and focuses on wide receiver, we get an even better version of Travis Hunter. He's coming in at 105 for me. So let's get in to the top 4. I'm going to stick at the running back position a little bit because I want to talk about Omarion Hampton, 6'1", 220 plus pounds. Listen, this dude, his feet, the quickness, the explosiveness, the way that he forced missed tackles versus Minnesota. 17 missed tackles forced in one game from Omarion Hampton. 114 of his 129 yards came after contact. You're talking about a player who is built for the NFL, can catch the ball out of the backfield, beyond adequate size to be a bell cow at the next level, and he's been dominant. He has been dominant. You watched him from the first time he stepped foot on the field in UNC to where he is now, and you knew this was going to be a guy. 30 rush attempts, 129 yards, and a narrow 19-17 win over Minnesota. But there's no doubt about it. This offense is going to run through Omarion Hampton. Number 4 for me right now in my rookie mock draft. I would be ecstatic to get this guy. He is going to be a top 50 pick. He's going to be one of the best running backs in this class. Love his 3-down skill set. Omarion Hampton, a name. If you have not watched him play, make sure you get to know him. Omarion Hampton, 104. Top 3 players on my board. Rookie mock draft after week 1. At number 3, the man who rushed for 267 yards on 20 attempts. What are we doing? Ashton Jeanty from Boise State. He was one of my top-rated running backs coming into the season, and nothing that happened week 1 has me shifting off of that at all. 5'9", 210 pounds. He's compact. He's built tight. Former wide receiver, can catch the ball out of the backfield. 6 damn touchdowns. And again, Georgia Southern, totally get it. But this was a tight game, 56-45. So don't get it. Don't act like he was just out there and they didn't need him and he was just padding stats. No, this was a back-and-forth battle between Boise State and Georgia Southern. But Jeanty was unstoppable. Had they not taken him out, had they just fed him, he would have set the NCAA record. Week 1, he would have bested, I believe, Samaje Perine holds the record. Was it Perine? Melvin Gordon, Perine? Somebody broke that record here recently, but he would have set it. He would have broken that record. He is talented, quick twitch ability, power, speed, ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, be deployed as a pass-catching weapon. You know, I always say, there's a difference between running backs who can catch the ball and running backs who can be deployed as a pass-catching weapon. And those are one of the reasons why I've got TreVeyon Henderson over Quinshon Judkins. This is why I have Ashton Jeanty over some of those guys, because he can be deployed as a pass-catching weapon. Very excited to watch him progress throughout the season. He will be one of the top prospects in this class. Can't wait to see him progress throughout the year. Ashton Jeanty, absolute dog. 103 for me. 102, we're sticking with the running back spot, and we're going to Stillwater, Oklahoma to talk about OG2, Big Ollie Gordon II. I mean, it was incredible last season, and he starts off week 1. Not just what he does on the ground, y'all. 104 yards, 27 times, 104 yards on the ground, 22-yard touchdown reception, caught 4 passes for 42 yards. He is a workhorse. 6'2", 226 pounds. Again, this running back class, y'all, they're all 6 foot. They're either 6 foot or 5'9", 210 plus. They all are built like workhorse backs, but Ollie Gordon has done it. Incredible season last year. But the thing that I love about Ollie, despite that size, despite the fact that you think he's a grinder, he's 20 years old. One of the youngest running backs in this class. He's younger than, I believe, Ashton Jeanty. Yep, a little younger than Ashton Jeanty. And he is younger than Omarion Hampton, younger than Quinshon. He is young. He can catch the ball. 37 receptions last year for over 350 yards. This is a guy that will not be pulled off the field in 3rd down situations. He can catch the ball. He's a workhorse. He's built like a traditional NFL running back. OG2, my 102 right now, and my number 1 ranked running back in 2025, which leads us to the 101 right now. And if you have it, I really don't need to talk a lot about Tetairoa or McMillan. I will link the video that I dropped about him and the routes that he runs, some of the things that I want to see him progress on this year. But I got nothing to say. You go out there and catch 10 passes for 304 and score 4 touchdowns. I got nothing to say. You are the 101. 6'5", 212 pounds. I know a lot of people are going to compare him to Drake London, compare him to Mike Evans. I've watched this young man since his freshman season in Arizona, and the way that he plays, the way that he moves, reminds me more of a combination of A.J. Green and Brandon Marshall. There aren't a lot of guys that can move like that who are built at 6'5", 212 pounds. Tetairoa McMillan is going to dominate this fall. And for those of you who don't know, he spent a considerable amount of time in the spring and summer not practicing, recovering from an injury. So he just really got going. And to see him perform that well in week 1, This is your 101. This is a blue chip prospect. This is a guy who should, or at least projects to be drafted like a top 10 asset come 2025. Tetairoa McMillan, incredible. T-Mac is a dog. All of this stuff is inside the database. So there you go. 101, Tet McMillan. 102, we got OG2, Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State. 103, Ashton Jeanty from Boise State. 104, we're sticking with running backs, going with Omarion Hampton from North Carolina. At 105, Travis Hunter, my final blue chip prospect. 105, Travis Hunter, wide receiver from Colorado. 106, Luther Burden III from Missouri. 107, TreVeyon Henderson, the Ohio State. His teammate, Quinshon Judkins. 108, and his teammate, Emeka Egbuka, at 109. So we go 1, 2, 3 from the Ohio State. 110, we got Nicholas Singleton from Penn State. 111, Kyren Lacy, wide receiver, LSU. And 112, surprise maybe to some, not to me, Tez Johnson, wide receiver out of Oregon. And yes, we've got other profiles. You see Colston Loveland here, tight end out of Michigan. We got Drew Alar, stuff on here. Juice Wells, got all of that. So if you subscribe to the Patreon, you subscribe to the website, you will get access to this database updated every single week. Just in case you ain't around to catch everything that's happened in the college game, we got you covered. Appreciate everybody being here for this video. If you stuck around to the end, you found the information actionable and or entertaining, that thumbs up button, like the content, subscribe to the channel, stay locked in. We got more rookie mocks, more rookie talk, more wide receiver talk right here on DD Fantasy Football. Enjoy the rest of the game. Enjoy Saturday college football, and make sure you're locked into everything that we do over here on the channel. Out of this thing. Peace.